Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is
Good afternoon.
Mayokun. My name is Mayokun Adeoti. I'm the regional coordinator for Young African Leaders Initiative, the Regional Leadership Center, alumni chapter of Nigeria, North Central Region. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Leadership Table. Leadership Table is a series of fireside chats put together by the alumni in this part of the country, where we check in on young leaders from around the world and get them to share their personal and professional stories in a fireside chat. And today, our special guest is no other person but Mrs. Dorcas Adesola Bello, one of our very own past presidents at Yali RLC Alumni Nigeria Association. In fact, she happens to be the very first elected president of the association. And so today we are going to be having a chat with her very briefly. So she's going to be sharing her story with us. Once again, you are welcome to today's event, Mrs. Dorcas Adesola Bello.
Thank you, Mayokun. I really appreciate your effort. Thank you for checking on me always to make sure I'm on point. I really appreciate it. My pleasure being with you guys too. After a long time, let me put.
After a very long time. Yes, that is very true. Because some of us, we got interacting with some of our past presidents, but there was someone that was just not available, you know. And then I did some search, got in touch with a very good friend of mine, Ridwan Agboluaje, whom I discovered served as a regional coordinator when you were president. Yes. And through him, I was able to get your number, and then I got in touch with you. We spoke, and then you obliged us of your presence. We do not take this for granted. We are very, very grateful to have you on this program today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so Ma, let's go straight to the discussions. You were the first elected president of the association. Last week, we had a chat with Mr. Sipasi Ayodele, who made it clear to us that he was selected by the Yali RLC in Accra, Ghana, to pilot the affairs of the association. Yes. And as the person who was piloting the affairs of the association, he put in place some structures and conducted an election to put in place a leadership. You contested for that and won. Can you please tell us what made you to come out and contest for that post?
It's an interesting question, actually. Let me say the inspiration started 2015. I noticed some gap in the Nigerian leadership framework, and also observed that majority of the people or persons we had on board then, some both local and the federal government level, the state level, were the same old hands we kept, recycling. And I said to myself, if everybody feels, I don't want to be there, I don't want to be there, we will keep having the same thing. So I made up my mind that particular year, every opportunity that comes my way to lead, I will do whatever I can do to be there and change the narrative, not necessarily minding how hard the journey might be. That's how I started. And RSC was the first opportunity that came on board. Actually, I heard that I came in as online coach too. Wasn't on site, as at that time we had about 4 on site, and I understand that they were having issues with the team that were elected to pioneer the affair. So it became important to have a leader, and they also observed that this power tussle somehow. So I told myself, I met Simpasi at Gimpa, then we chat. I said, you were the pioneer. I want to come in, I want to fight. I used the word, I want to fight, then he started laughing. I discovered that there are big fishes in these oceans. I'm so tiny. I'm a female. I want to come in. One beautiful thing he did for me that night that I won't forget, he encouraged me on. He said, go for it. So you mentioned Rilu and Abulu Ajay. We actually did community service together. We are same cohort, 2 online. So I beckoned on him and Chinozom, one of us, and said, this is my ambition. How do we get on board? And as at then, I don't know now, like I told you, I'm sorry I left for a long time. As at then, there's this gap between online and onset. You know, they feel the superiority that the people of onset were more original, let me use that word, than the online. So I felt being an online and this opportunity, let me go in. Beautiful enough, I had people backing me up and campaigned for me. In fact, not only campaign for me alone, we team up. I think I won't forget that. It was a team of, you check our banner, we had about 7 of us or thereabout coming together to form a body. And our motto that then was accountability and good leadership. So that was how the whole thing went and I came on board. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for this. You are undoubtedly a strong woman for you to come out, you know, to have the guts and the courage to say you want to contest, and then you put the team together and you did it and you won. It's your name will always be in history for that feat. So you came on board as a president and you led the association for 1 year before handing over. Can you please tell us, under your watch, what are some of the things that you can point to as programs or projects which you put in place, you know, with your administration? What are those things you can call successes of your administration? And then also tell us some of the challenges you faced and how you overcame them.
Thank you. Let me say, to put it on record, we served for 10 months, not 1 year. We came in December 2017 and did the handing over October 2018. So it was 10 months.
10 months.
Sincerely, we had more challenges than success. I must be sincere, because at a point I got so confused, and the team on board also, we needed help. As at that time, while we had it rough, also was RS was also changing. They changed their leadership at that point. So the director coming on board also trying to settle down. We also here in Nigeria also trying to settle down. So we didn't have much link with our alumni coordinator from the RLC. So we had to like bear this alone ourselves. And thank God for St. Pastor and Diana, who pioneered the affair. We had a meeting at forgotten the name of the place in Lagos. We had a meeting, all the elected, and Sipasi was present. What was our idea? We decided to go region by region. You know, every region has its diversity. So we didn't say we are coming up with just one program, but you will tailor your own program towards what is the need in your environment over there. So that was where we took off from. Now, the need to because we're not known, RSC was not so much known, because after the Sympathy tenors, the thing died down a little. It was more of a Mandela Washington Fellow and the Yali Network. So one of the things we did was to team up with these three and let me say, reawaken the friendship that the pioneer, Sympathy and Diana, started. So we took off from there, not much. Then we needed to do projects. We were not known. As at this time, as at that time, there had been a gap between our mother, that's I use the word, we call them mother, my tenor there, the UN, the consulate, and is a USAID. We didn't have that teamwork there. We needed a letterhead. I don't know how it is now, but then getting letterhead from RSC was very difficult, and we can't produce one by ourselves. So that was where our challenges started from. Okay, we said, let's look away from getting our own things ourselves, since we've been told. So we have to request for the handbook to really understand what is the work is expected of the alumni body. And we discovered that all our running around to host this program, host that program is not really the core thing. The core thing the RSE wanted us was that networking. You meant us to network and team up with your ideas, your visions, and be a true leader. Okay, that being the case, we decided, okay, all regional reps, go back to your location. If you want to face agriculture, if you want to face education, if you want to, whatever is the challenge that is predominant at your end there. As I died, I was still in Lagos. I would team up with the Southwest. And one of the major programs we did was partnering with NAPTIP on trafficking in persons. That's one major one that we did. What NAPTIP did then was to train our alumni on how to campaign against this, trafficking. You say I think it was more at that time, trafficking in person, drugs, little child, and all that. So they trained us. Then these outside issues also made how they were being treated, and what they were able to, they educate us on. Okay, if you say you are trafficking somebody, you've offended. At what point can we say you've offended? So we were able to get good knowledge about that. That as somebody is under your care in your home and is feeding well, and probably because some people felt somehow and they were, went to them to report the case, they will first investigate. So we're encouraged to investigate any case before bringing it on board, because if somebody is trafficking a child from one state to the other or from one country to the other, you have to find out and get the details and how to go about it. Then they also dive a little into drug, into the drug pushers, those who push drugs, hard drugs, and all that. Then that was one major project I can say we achieved. We had issues. Financing, funding was a major issue. And because there was no letterhead paper, and that was one thing we tried to put down, that everything RSE can do when we're handing over, that letterhead is very key. That letter of recognition, introduction, those we made available at that point, so that the subsequent leadership coming on board, we have things to work on. I think I will call it an event that we achieved was the homecoming 2018. It was a great achievement for us. It wasn't easy at all, I must be sincere. Putting it on board was not easy. We had issues, but beautifully enough, with all the challenges here and there, funding, teamwork, individual difference, and the display of attitude and all that, we were able to put that homecoming together. Not program per se was the constitution. We had tried to review our alumni constitution. We started the process, and RSA alumni Nigeria is so rich, so we didn't go out. We made use of our own legal practitioners came on board to review the constitution, because we're having issues also on the constitutional aspect of that program. Okay, the election itself. Well, there is this notion that election that brought us on board was not credible enough. I must state that those that anyone on board online here that was part of that, there was this rumor. So we made up our mind, our tenor, that not minding what has happened, this must be transparent and it must be credible. So we were able to put that platform together, and it became a success to the team that came after us, Aisha and the likes. I think so far, that's what I can leave my answer. Hope I answer your question anyway.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's very nice and interesting to learn about some of the challenges you faced then, and how you were able to overcome them. And then, of course, the things you also put in place. It's a good lesson for some of us who are most probably just joining the Alumni Association. While you were speaking, two very important people entered: the current national president of Yali RSC Alumni Nigeria, and also our national secretary. They just entered the Zoom call. Welcome, welcome, my leaders. Okay, Ma, back to you. As a former president, can you tell us what the position has contributed to you? How did your position as a past president of Yali RSC Alumni Nigeria contribute to your growth as a person?
Nice one. I will do a review backward a little, how I came into, to answer that question, how I came into Yali RSC. I remember back then, 2015, I needed to be sure. I felt I was not up to it. I felt I was not competent enough. I felt I've lost my self-esteem and carry things. A lot of things were happening around me as at that time. So I told myself to rediscover myself. Any opportunity to train and retrain, I want to be there. To really assure myself, I believe there are certain character or attributes I had that I was losing. Or I also felt that, in fact, I'd gone at that time. I went for this women program, Discovering Yourself. That's a Women of Essence, organized by person, Mrs. Omokorede Fashoro in Lagos that year, Women of Essence. It was at that meeting I discovered that I've not really lost my personality, the qualities I thought I had, that I'd not lost them. And one of the things I told the woman then was that the coordinator of that, the convener of that event, was that any opportunity to learn, to lead, to showcase, I just want to be there. So she posted the link to me, RLC then, that they were recruiting. As at that time, I was above 35, I think 37, going to 38, if I'm not mistaken. So when I saw the age range, 18 to 35, I felt, wow, I'm not qualified. But there is this inner prompting to go ahead. So I did, put in my age, everything, all the application, I applied. And to my surprise, after, I think I got my response after about 3 to 4 weeks. And I was like, wow, amazing. Selected online, okay. I jumped at it. What I was looking for was to rediscover my person, rediscover my self-esteem, rediscover I used to believe I was industrious. I used to believe I was intelligent. I used to believe I was bold. But at that year, I felt I was losing. And in fact, I had lost, or let me use that word, because I was at the very lowest part of my point there. Now, having the opportunity to learn with an international, learn under an international body, RSC, and having people from different countries, I said, wow, an opportunity to really test my abilities. That was how I came on board. And these that I've mentioned were revived via RSC. Back then online, we had the opportunity to do 1 or 2 group work. And somehow, I found myself connecting with people and we were working. And I discovered that they listened more to me. They asked me questions, even when I thought I don't know, actually, your background shouldn't be the reason why you think you can't achieve anything. I think, let me put that on record. Your background, no. My background was almost intimidating me at that point. So coming to RSC, I pick up my self-esteem, my boldness. I was able to pick up. I went in as an entrepreneur. That's the track I went for. And the ethical leadership, I had always believed in ethical leadership. I had always believed it. But in this country, somehow it's very, very difficult. But RSC made me understand. That's one thing I pick also from RSC, made me understand that at whatever level you are, you can maintain that standard. That RSC has added to me. RSC has built teamwork in me. And I mean teamwork. I said one of the challenges we had was we had personal differences. I remember one of the meetings we had as ESCO then, I left the meeting, I was weeping. My children were saying, Mommy, why are you crying? You are this Yali again. I was actually crying. What happened? We had meetings. This person said this, person and she said this, she said that, she said, and then we were chatting online. So they were misinterpreting my chats. I left the chat room after everything. I was not comfortable. I was in tears. I'm a Christian. I believe in the help of the Holy Spirit so much. So I turned back. I just look. I said, Holy Spirit, you have to help me. I'm losing my mind. So very funny. I got into the car and put a call to one of us. I just had the urge to put a call to everyone, but I started with one person first. Peter. Peter said, no. He used to call me our president. Our president, no, you can't be crying now. So he said it in Yoruba, and I smiled. At that point, I started smiling. And he said, they misunderstood your point. I said, good, that I got that feedback from him, and I had to call others. Even where I didn't have to apologize, I apologized to make sure we come together, and that we achieved. So that teamwork and that ability to manage my emotions, I learned it from Iris. And it's helping me currently, actually. It's helping me.
Wow, thank you for this. Thank you for this. As an experienced entrepreneur that you are, and then, of course, you have told us some of the things you learned from RLC, and I want to believe that you were at the business and entrepreneurship track. Yeah. Am I right? Okay,
yes.
So currently you are the managing director of a company called Adesola. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
An organization that is into supermarkets, tailoring, and fashion designing. How does it feel to be in such a position where you are managing and organizing people?
Actually, I will respond by saying, being an MD, sincerely, when you own the business, is just a title. Just a title. You are actually the cleaner. I use the word, they are the lowest staff, so to say, because you are everywhere, doing everything at different points and at different time. What do I mean? You will be the accountant, because you have to supervise your accountant to make sure the financial record they are giving out is correct. You will be with the procurement to make sure that whatever they are ordering for is a quality material. The cleaner, you make sure your office is inviting, attractive enough for any, your customers, your environment says a lot about you to your customers. So as an MD, you are there. How is your brand portrayed outside is a concern to you. So you actually, I use the word, you're actually an MD by title, but you are everywhere. It's not really an easy task. For us, we started as Adesola started as food processing and packaging. If you check RSC, that was how we came on board, because we're into agriculture. We produce, picked. We have beans picked. That was back then in Lagos, though we now have Quattros handling that aspect of food processing and packaging. Why Adesola Venture is focused more on the supermarket and the fashion house. It's really not an easy task to be an MD. I remember one of the challenge I had was when putting out the clothier, Adesola clothier, and putting it up. The idea came on board. I went to my children's school. I relocated to Abuja, and I was in a school, one of the best, and that axis where I am, for 3 hours looking for uniform. It was holiday period. And I look at the storekeeper, said, this is just a family. I've been here for almost 3 hours looking for uniform for what number of children? And I said to myself, no, I need to change the narrative. And I've always believed that you can have what is proudly Nigerian. that you can so dress it to the international standard so that when you get it, say, is it a ready-made? So organizing that aspect, bringing it on board, getting the machines, getting the people, getting the personnel, honestly, was hectic, was not really easy. But beautiful enough, we were able to get good hands to be on board. And well, like I said, an MD is everywhere, doing everything at a different time. That's a little I can say for now. Hope your question is answered.
Yes, it's well answered, ma. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're also the co-founder of AFJ Foundation,
Yes.
an organization that is into conflict resolution. Yes. So maybe you will tell us more about the AFJ Foundation, and then also share with us how can we prevent conflict, especially in Nigeria today.
AFJ is All for Jesus Foundation, actually. All for Jesus Foundation. That's the short form, AFJ. The dream came on board. I told you I needed to discover myself. At 13, I had started penetrating family issues, trying to solve hard issues, and the feedback has been profound. And so, growing up, I discovered I may do a lot in settling this, settling that, and having discovered myself that is an aspect that is just a natural gift. I keyed into it, and the foundation came on board. Now, when you said conflict resolution, in the first place, I define conflict as two people or two parties seeing the same thing from different perspectives. Take, for example, I have number 6 written. To the person opposite me is going to be number 9. To me, I've written number 6. It will not be, it's 6, no, it's 9. It's 6, it's 9. It's 6, it's 9. If you're not careful and the argument persists, you start fighting. So one thing is understanding your opponent or the next or the party you are dealing with. In conflict management, you have to see from other person's perspective. Everybody, you don't always be right in your own view. No, you can't always be right. So learn from the party. Okay, issues here and there. Why? Say your own. I say mine. This is where the difference comes. Okay, this is why we are fighting. You are seeing 9, I am seeing 6. I'm actually the one that put pen down this thing as 6, but you were not there when I did write 6. But you came from your hand, you were seeing 9. I had to keep calm to understand that, okay, you are the brain box behind this write-up. Then I take my turn to turn, I ask you to turn to my side, you see 9, you see 6. I turn to your side and discover you see 9. So we have an understanding and we can start a discussion. Then at that point, conflict is settled. So number 1 thing is understand yourself. Put yourself in that person's position. You will understand better. That's one major way to resolve conflicts.
Thank you very much for this good explanation. We are learning a lot from you, Ma. And not too long from now, we are going to be rounding up this chat. But before that, we are going to take some questions from the attendees. So, but before we get to that, I'll still ask you maybe 2 or 3 more questions. Then we'll take some questions. Then we'll take some questions from the attendees of today's call. So, Ma, you are a strong advocate for women liberation, according to your profile. And we are in the 21st century. Do you think women still need any liberation? If yes, why?
Okay. We answer in this dimension. What is liberation? What are you liberating? What is liberation? Freedom. If you say in 21st century, let me look at it this way from the aspect of abuse. Are women still abused? Is your answer yes or no? Mayokun.
Yes. Women
The
still
answer
feel
is
abused.
yes. In that aspect, women need liberation. And not only women, children. I focus more on female, but not only female. Let me quickly take you back to my community service with RSA. I led my team, cohort 2 online, Lagos base. We requested and they gave us Lagos base. So we teamed up to do that. We went into school on sex education. You know what we found? You can ask from Abulu Ajeri, the one he has not forgotten. Were small children that have been abused, male and female. We took their case off in confidence and discussed with their principal. I will tell the name of the school. And they were shocked to discover that these children are actually going through this. I was at 2016. So if you say they need liberation here, to such a child, freedom, what liberation to such a child is take her off that environment, build her mind or his mind again, and reorient such a person, build self-esteem in them, build courage, help the mind. Though you cannot really, memories is, it gets stuck into the memory, but that they don't feel the pain again. That's liberation. And when I talk about women liberation, I talk about freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, even in career-wise. Some women are so oppressed in their place of work that they find it difficult to speak up. Why do you need freedom? Speak up. And when I mean liberation in this 21st century, it looks as though we are all civilized. But honestly, when you get to the grassroots, permit me to mention this. As part of the assignment I do in my local environment is get child education. Do you still believe in Nigeria now? And I mean Nigeria to the Nigeria 2021, this Nigeria. And there are still some community who believe that girl child are to be relegated, they are not to be trained, either handwork or in anything. I have evidence. In fact, at a point, I beckoned to a particular lady I met via Yali Network that year when I actually picked up this challenge, that we went looking for the senator representing that constituency, their political figures in that environment. That as at that time, in fact, if I put a call to a particular contact of mine, I can get as much as 40 in a particular area. And has never been to school, 15, 16. They've never been to school. All they do is farm work. And then when you interact with these people, brain, very highly intelligent. Is it handwork? Introduce them to handwork. One of the village I went to, I saw one little girl. That's the key person holding it, but there are other male and female children around. The patient they took, they were doing kites. The patient these children took to keep tying rope, and it went far into the skies. How many meters? And I stood, I said, wow, what are potentials? So when I mean liberation, I'm not talking about this, let me say, misunderstanding that like women taking over the place of a man. See, I'm a Christian. I believe in God's order. Women cannot take over the place of a man in marriage. You will have monsters. You don't have two heads. But when you have women liberated, you are liberating the society, because you free her mind to take care of her home. The kind of children that will come forth from such a woman will be a total child, academically sound, emotionally sound, morally sound. So when we talk about women liberation, we're not talking about, hey, it is my turn to build this career. I want to. Oh, no. You can't. Wherever you find yourself, take the lead. Don't be timid. Push up your self-esteem and operate. Bring out your gifts. Deliver. That's what we're saying. Then you get the right woman on board. You get the right family. You get the right home. Put them at any part of Is it in church? Is it in mosque? Is it in schools, as teacher, as a permanent secretary, as a president? Anywhere, you will have an excellent performance. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you very much for that answer, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, you are a married woman, and you're also into all these things that you do, entrepreneurship, advocacy, and all that. Can you please tell us, how are you able to combine these things, managing the home and also engaging in other activities like business and all? How do you really get it done?
When you make what you love your work, you don't feel it. Some people will say, when you make your passion your work, work itself or job itself becomes play. I'm blessed with an understanding husband who has come to, in fact, I used to tell him that I am who I am today because of you. Have an understanding husband. And one thing I also do is, home is separate from business, office work. When it is time to work, I face work. When it is time to be home, I am home. When it's time to be a wife, I'm a wife. When it is time to be a mother, I'm a mother. I don't match the two. No, I don't match the two. I have break. I have time for my children. I have time for my husband. I am not this. Some people will say they are workaholic. No, I work, but I give time to it. And to my children, there are times I just tell them, see, mommy is going to be away. Mommy has this assignment, You have to cooperate with yourself and cooperate with daddy. And they will say, okay, mommy will pray for you. Mommy will pray for you and will be good children. So I think when you do what you love, you always, whatever is important, you create time for it. Let me just put it down.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma. This would be my final question to you. And then we will take questions from the attendees. And the question is, what advice do you have for the attendees of this very interesting Fireside chat today?
Okay, I will start by saying, build yourself and trust yourself. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't say you can't do it. For me, the word I can't is not there. No. Even if I don't know it, I will learn it. So all our youth, don't say you can't. Don't think it is not my field. Even if it is not your field, you can learn it and deliver. And one major thing I've also observed, everybody wants to get to the place of authority or the place of power, the place of influence for themselves. No, it should be for us. For us. Wherever you find yourself leading, be accountable, be transparent, be sincere. Be sincere. One day, you will be found out. Your work will speak for you. Your work will sure speak for you. Don't compare yourself. Don't compete. There are some unhealthy competitions among our youth these days. No, don't compete. My space is my space. Your space is your space. You may be a writer. I am a writer, but I have my style. Develop your style. You have your style. Develop your style. And I also encourage our youth for teamwork. I'll keep saying it, teamwork. What do I mean by teamwork? You have the know-how, you have the skill, but you don't have the money. You don't have the influence. You have the influence, you don't have the skill, you don't have the know-how, you don't have the money. So all of us can come together if we trust ourselves with understanding and form a body. And before you know, you are soaring. You just have speed than one person struggling alone. I think I will be all.
Wow, thank you very much for the wonderful advice. I believe that we would all take it to you from what we have learned today. I can see one hand up. Okay. So I'm going to call on Alpha Joshua to quickly unmute yourself and ask your question. Alpha Joshua. Alpha Joshua. Okay. Alpha is not saying anything, though his hand is raised up. Do we have any question for our special guests today? Maybe I would call somebody. I'm sure there are people here. I'm going to call one of our leaders. Yes, to make a comment. So actually, I'm going to call the national officers who are on this call to both make a comment. I can see Mr. President and I can see our national secretary. So I'll throw the floor open first to our national president in the person of Mr. Rauf Ahmed Ishola. Over to you, Mr. President.
Welcome. You are amazing. Kudos to you. Well done. I really want to say, let me first of all welcome my powerful past presidents.
My personal person, I greet you too. I
Thanks so
celebrate
much for coming and bringing. I really appreciate you. I've been listening to the questions and answers as you are making justice to that answers. Oh, I really appreciate you, ma'am. Thanks so much for always being there. I still remember last week that you were there with us at the town hall meeting. Thanks for every time. And I think I picked one or two things from your advice now. That transparency is very, very important, and selfless-minded person always have target to anything we are doing. You should not allow that to affect our. So sorry for that. I'm in another meeting, so I'm sorry. So we should not allow what we are doing right now to affect our family, to affect being a married woman is not easy with your profile, what you have been doing. So, and you are able to manage it with your home. Wow, you are a fantastic woman, man. Thanks so much. Well done, man. So, and I've learned a lot from you. Because I know that that's one of two things that they are complaining about me at home. Sometimes, no, Daddy, I want to talk to you. No, I'm busy. I'm in a meeting. So I think I will show you it now. I will learn from you, man. So thank you very much. And I believe that everybody enjoyed it today. I'm happy to join you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for that comment. So now I throw the floor open for our National Secretary, Miss God's Glory Ifezwe. Over to you, madam.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam President. It's nice meeting you in person. Well, over the virtual network.
My pleasure too.
Yes, ma'am. I've actually learned quite a lot from you as a female leader. You've inspired me a lot with many things you've said. And I think for me, the one that stands out, they all stand out. Everything you said really stood out with me. And sorry I came late. I had to prepare for class. I like that you say it's good to separate business and the family and never to confuse the two roles. I think sometimes as women leaders, we tend to almost blur the lines. And so for me, that's a very important lesson that I've picked up, to learn how to separate the two when I eventually find myself in that position.
Thank you.
And not confuse the two. And I want to say congratulations on all the things you've done, both in the managerial position and in the RLC position. I think your administration laid the groundwork for what we have today. So we want to thank you very much for it.
Thank you too.
Yes, ma'am. It was really nice meeting you. Thank you. I need to go off to
My
class.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary, for that wonderful comment. I can see someone raising his hand now, so we will just allow you to quickly ask a question. Bryce and Dayton. Bryce, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm so glad to be part of this. I was there last week, and this week again is very, very important for us. I will say congratulations to our guest speaker.
Thank you.
It's really refreshing to understand that there are women leaders who understand the difference between women liberation and feminism, because I have a hard time looking at us, hearing women trying to overtake their homes, trying to overtake the society, thinking they are not like men, they are more than men even. So, but well, I thank you very much for the presentation you made and the understanding you are trying to put across. Thank you very much. Concerning conflict, we have a serious problem. It is not a foreign thing to know what the country is passing through these days with the armed bandits, the Fulani elders, and so on and so forth. We are really suffering from those things. But to your own idea, how do we approach this conflict from the illustration you presented, the 9-6 illustration? How do we really resolve this issue? Because it's something that is digging deep into us as farmers. We can't go to farm, we can't ply the road, we can't sell our goods. In fact, the ones we have is destroyed. The ones we have tried to farm is destroyed. Right now, we can't even farm. How do we go about this? How do we get to the other side of the person to see his own misunderstanding of the situation? We don't understand what to do. We really need to solve these issues.
Number one solution for me is let me start from there. Go and dust your voter's card. Go dust your voter's card. If you don't have, go and register and get your voter's card. The problem we have in this country, for me personally, is the willpower of our leader to solve it. Sincerely. If we tackle this insurgency the way we tackled Ebola, it will be an history. But we all understand that it has political tone. Let's not shy away from it. Let's not shy away from it. If our soldiers have been out of the country to keep peace, for peacekeeping, they came back, let me use the word, with murders. How much more in-house? How much more in-house? I put a challenge to you. Find our soldiers, either the Air Force, the Navy, the armies. Personally go and interact with them at the grassroots level and get their feedback. One thing I personally have done, and that's why I said, dust your voter's card. We said we want change. The change begins from us. There is no way we can talk about resolving this conflict between elders, Fulani, banditry, and all that without our leaders being ready to solve it. Honestly, if they sit together today and they said, we want to put an end to this, it's achievable. Trust us in Nigeria, it is achievable. But personally, I believe there's some people somewhere sabotaging this effort. Personally. That's my personal view and opinion. And to be hard for anybody to take it away from me, because to resolve conflict, to go to the root. So are we saying for this past few years, we've not discovered the root of this conflict? No, it's not possible. We are too intelligent in Nigeria. We have competent hands that can deliver, but they are allowed to perform. Even if they are, where is the results? So for me, to answer your question. Let's hope. I believe in prayers. I believe in action. First, let's pray that God will help our leaders, which have a change of mind to fight it. You can't say you want to be a leader if you are not ready to lay down your life. If you are not ready to lose, you can't be a leader, because you will have to match certain things, match certain persons, close your eye to certain relatives and say, this is the right thing. That's what I call ethical leadership. Even though it's going to hurt others around you, put your feet down and get it. But we don't have it. We're not seeing it. Let me not say we don't have it. We're not seeing it. So dust your voters card. Let's meet 2023.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, Ma. Thank you for that answer. And with that, we have come to the end of today's Fireside Chat. On behalf of Yali RLC Alumni Nigeria, North Central Region, the amazing team behind this, Benjamin, Sandra, Omolara, Stanley, Matthias, Sheon, everybody, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Ma, for joining us today. And I also want to say a big thank you to all our amazing attendees. Thank you for joining us from all over Nigeria and other parts of the world. We have Tadashi all the way from Lusaka, Zambia on this call. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And a big thanks also to Mr. President for coming on the call, and Madam National Secretary. It was a pleasure having you be a part of this. Once again, thank you, everybody. My name is Mayokun.
Thank you. Thank you. Done a good job. Your team are really performing. Thank you for making use of technology and advancing RLC. I really appreciate this. Kudos to your team and others.
It's a pleasure, Ma. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just like just like we did last week, we are going to have some breakout sessions where you have the opportunity to network with other members and young leaders on this call. So in the next 1 minute, the breakout rooms will be thrown open and you will find yourself in a chat with some other people on this call. So it's an opportunity for you to network. Remember, one thing our past president said is that one of the core mandates of the RLC is networking. It's not even about the programs and projects, but for us to get to meet one another and do amazing things together. So from me, once again, thank you all for joining today's event, and hope to see you again next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.